What revenue streams do you think are overrated and underrated as an artist?
Um, Revenue streams, I think it's important to diversify your revenue streams firstly, because everybody I know that's successful in music has like 20 jobs. So I think it's very easy to be like disappointed in what one revenue stream in music can be now. If you're only playing gigs, I think it's very easy to end up in a trap in a world where that's not really leading anywhere. So I think for myself, I've tried to have a couple different ones that were clear. One that was playing bass, one that was production, and one that was songwriting. And the royalties based on those other two would be more long term. And then, bass stuff would be stuff I was doing that was more short term to pay rent and stuff. And, I think it's important to have a few little branches off of your tree that like relate to things that you're good at. Um, and, I think it's easy to be upset about streaming royalties right now. I think they're really far too low. But at the same time, I do get paid a pretty good amount off streaming royalties right now. And, once if you do own a lot of a song, which, in these cases, I'm making like 100% of the track, um, it can end up being, something that's pretty decent to live on, at least for now, while streaming is around. And, hopefully we can get it up to a cent to stream and, I'll be moving from just living to living a little better. That would be amazing. But, in the meantime, I think I have to play gigs and, I have to, produce records for other people. And, I need to do all these other sorts of things. And as life goes on, there's all these other new things that I'm trying to take on as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm less of a bass player every day in a funny way. And, for many years, I was also my own manager and up until a couple weeks ago, really. So I've also been doing a lot of logistical, paperwork, whatever the hell, just kind of developing brand relationships, all that stuff. I've been doing that on my own. I think I would encourage people to take that as far as you can.
What do you mean by that? Like the logistical stuff? Like, give me some examples.
Well, I've done a few, collaborations with brands making videos for Instagram that are paid, and that stuff pays the rent, a pretty good amount of time, and it's decent and honestly pretty low impact for me. Stuff I was doing anyway, and I really just tag that company in the video a lot of the time. There's really nothing more to it than that. So keeping things like low impact stuff you're doing anyway that starts providing money is really the goal. Try to kind of stay in your lane and hopefully people come into that lane and have some need for what you're doing is really how I've been able to kind of carve a little spot out for myself. And now people kind of know I do a specific thing. And if they have a project that requires like, hey, we need like some break beats and some bass highlighted, I'm your guy, So I think having a thing that you can, be like, this is how specific I am about it. Like, this is exactly what I do. Here it is. That helps a lot. And luckily, people like a Splice or something like that have reacted really well to that. And we've done a couple videos now, and I'm sure we'll probably do a pack or something like that in the future. So,
What would you say are overrated revenue streams?
overrated. I think for a long time I thought BMI and all that kind of stuff was like publishing. Um, and as I've gotten a couple syncs and things have changed, I've realized that they're maybe underrated. So, like I said, it kind of depends on where you're at with it. I think for a long time I was like, please stop telling me about BMI or ASCAP. I get a check for one set from them, like this is so stupid. But there are a lot of loopholes in that. You got to create your own company and stuff to really even get paid, and I think a lot of people don't even know that. So make sure you actually started your publishing company, folks. If you signed up as a writer, that doesn't mean anything. If you didn't pay anything, it doesn't mean anything. Let me just tell you that. So it's important to like get that stuff together, even as it seems dumb, because if you have any success, that stuff will change and actually become a pretty important income stream for you.
So, the publishing is an interesting one. It's something I want to learn more about. How did you choose between ASCAP or BMI? Was there a difference for you? I mean, what was the reason you went with BMI?
I think at the time, somebody we were working with told us that we had to, and the band I was working with when I was in my early 20s. And it was no more simple than that. They were like, I know a guy at BMI, and I'd never met the guy who talked to him in my life. So, you know, yeah, I don't really know why, but I have stayed with them, and it's been cool. So,
And then how would so obviously you said you need to have a publishing company together, but is there anything else for people who want to learn? Because that is obviously that is a very important revenue stream, especially you start collaborating with people and as you start getting credits and syncs and things like that. Um, what advice would you have for someone as far as like getting that stuff set up or learning about that stuff?
I mean, I feel like I've learned a lot of that stuff just from word of mouth. That's stuff where like networking actually helps because you're in a room of people and everyone's like, this is so confusing, whatever. And hopefully there's one guy who kind of figured it out or like is a little bit further than you or whatever. So really, I'm just picking other people's brain and, you know, uh, I've had to learn a lot of stuff as it came up, to be honest. I didn't start my own LLC till I got my first sync thing because they wouldn't pay me unless I was a company. So I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta start a business. And it was I was lucky that that was a good excuse to do that because I've really needed it since then. Um, so these things change as you change sometimes, and like how much you need them. So I've also started an LLC for a band too soon, and that it is just a thing you have to deal with every year, and it's annoying. So you don't need to be super on top of it of everything, but have your eyes open and try not to stay behind, and respond to your emails. I think it's incredible how many people don't respond. I mean, that being said, there's probably somebody watching this that's like, this guy didn't respond to my email, what an asshole. um uh I do my best, and unsolicited ones from younger musicians are tougher for me these days, and it's just like harder for me to dive into things that I'm not 100% on. So sometimes that can lead to a non-response, but I would say I do my best with that, and I pride myself on that. Trying to like stay on top of it personally, because I think a lot of people are like, I have a manager now, don't talk to me or whatever. I still want to be very hands-on with my thing as it goes forward.